Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend and I hope you enjoyed the sunshine a little bit and got outside and had fun. I put together this week's packet, and so I wanted to talk really quickly before we go over our work for Monday. Thank you for everyone picking up your book bags last week. That was wonderful. I really appreciate you coming in to get those. And so inside your book bag, of course, were all of your books that we usually use. So hopefully you're keeping a hold of those because we're going to keep using them. So your morning workbook, we're going to be doing those pages in there. So I didn't print them in the packets. Your math for today, you will have printed. Your Envision lessons will not be printed because you have your workbooks at home too. So since we already paid for those, we'll just go ahead and use those, and they're in color too, so that'll be great. If you would like a printed packet, I do have a printed packet of the pages that you will need up in the office. So if you need to stop by the school and grab those, they're up there. And they don't have all the pages that we've normally had in there just because of the fact that you do have your books at home. So that way we wouldn't have to do double copies of those things and waste paper. All right, so if you have any questions about your workbooks or printed packets or anything like that, go ahead and send me an email and let me know. And let's go ahead and get started on our Monday work, Monday, April 20th, 2020. So we're going to be doing a morning work page 123. We're going to be doing math for today, week 25, days 1 and 2. Spelling City, we're going to be doing list 26. I'm not sure why there's a 2 there. There must be a typo. But pre-test on Spelling City today, your spelling list is in the download and the packet that was printed too. So if you are using the file that I send, it's in there too. And then we're going to be doing a little bit of a different ReadWorks, where instead of doing what's called the article of the day, we're going to just have an article to read. And I tried to pick ones about animals because we are doing our informational writing with our writing lessons right now. So I thought that might help with a little bit of ideas for what you should be including into your story. So today we're going to be doing What's in the Ocean. And after you're done reading that, you'll need to click over on the question set and also on the vocabulary. Just answer there. And then we're going to start our vocabulary. So you have your vocabulary book at home, just like we had here in class. I've got mine right here ready to go. And then I included the page that we're going to work on in our Google Classroom. So I'll ask if you'll please go over to Google Classroom when you are working on vocabulary. And I have a slide there where I put in the words we're going to be doing and the definitions. So you can go there and just copy it right off there into your book. So please go to the very first available page. I believe mine was on page 37 where I started out. Yeah, 37 in my book. And I did label it with today's date, 4/20/20. And then in grammar, we're going to be watching our slideshow that we normally would watch in class. And I haven't been doing that, but I'm going to go over that with you here in just a few moments. And then in writing, we're going to go back to Google Classroom and do lesson 5 on informational writing. So if you have not started your practice writing, what you're going to put for your animal, then I'd ask that you start working on that. That was on our day 4. Day 4 should have quite a bit more information. I did return some people's papers just to have them put a little bit more detail. Day 2 was the day that we picked the 4 subtopics, and we're going to put information in there. So that's what you'll want to give us more information. Try to give us at least 2 or 3 pieces of detail for each type of thing you're going to do. So if you're doing habitat, we need 2 or 3 sentences about that. If you're doing, what food they eat, 2 or 3 sentences. They're prey, predators. So just give us a lot more information so that we understand more about the animal you picked. And kind of maybe pretend that we're an audience reading it that have no idea about this animal. And you are going to teach us about that animal. All right, and then in Vision, we're going to be doing an interactive notebook page. So you have your Math is Fun notebook at home, and so we're going to cut out our paper and glue it in, and then go ahead and color in and do the problems on there. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And then you have your choice page. So we'll get going on our language page. All right. All right, so we are on page 123 in our morning workbook. The top part of our morning work, excuse me, I'll scooch over here. We're going to read the sentence and circle the correct word to complete it. So we're using the word to, and to. The first two with the TOO means also, like I'm going to go to the store and Wendy will too. So that's what you would use for that. If it's, I would like 2 popsicles, that's the number 2. And then this to is a preposition saying where we're going or what it's going to. So this clip goes to that backpack. So when we look at the Harold family has blank tents for camping, 2 tents for camping. Which one would it be? You just need to circle it. So it's counting how many. Chad mailed a postcard to his aunt. Where is it going to? Number 3, put on your pajamas before you become too tired. So it means like you're overly. So it's not really a number and it's not going to something. So which one would that be? Mrs. Caldwell led her class to the school assembly. So which 2 would that be? All right. In our math, this is an interesting name. Akini waters her neighbor's plants once a week. The rose bush gets 2 liters of water. The cactus gets 1 liter. The bamboo gets 2 liters. The fern gets 1 liter. And the large palm gets 2 liters. How much water does Akini use each week? So you need to add up all of the water that they've used. Include the rose bush, the cactus, the bamboo, the fern, and the large palms. All right. In our reading, our question is, how can you tell that the genre of the story is realistic fiction? So fiction is a made-up story, but realistic fiction is a made-up story that could actually be a real-life story. So we're going to read this story, and you'll be able to answer how you can tell that it is realistic fiction. The Bin family's cat, Kiwi, ran away on Friday. Kiwi is a cat that lives indoors but is allowed to go outside too. At first, the Bins thought Kiwi had hopped over the fence and into the neighbor's yard, but the neighbors hadn't seen her. On Saturday, the Bins hung flyers with a picture of Kiwi and their phone number around the neighborhood. A few days later, a lady called them because she thought Kiwi was at her house. The Bins went to her house, and it really was Kiwi. So we could imagine this happening to our own pet. So how can you tell that this is realistic fiction? All right, so when you're finished with this, if you want to show an adult that you got it all finished, that would be super, to make sure they check that over for you. And then on math for today, we're going to be doing day 1 and day 2. And I want you to go ahead and read the questions and see if you can answer them the best, as you can. In 4 days, Paige saw a total of 32 skydivers. She saw the same number of skydivers each day. How many skydivers did Paige see in 1 day? So we were looking at 32 of them divided up among 4 days. How many were there each day? And then what number would we divide by 2 and get 5? Or 5 times 2 is that number. 1 times this number equals 9. 42 divided by 7 equals this number, or this number times 7 equals 42. And then on the bottom, we have label 4/8 on the number line, label 6/8 on the number line. So it's broken up into 8 pieces. So you're going to put a dot where 4/8 is and write the fraction underneath that dot, and put a dot where 6/8 is and put a put the fraction below that dot as well. Day 2 says, Tavares has 2 pairs of pants hanging in his closet. Each pair of pants has 2 pockets. How many pockets are there in all? 2 pants and 2 pockets. How many pockets altogether? This one says, divide the circle into thirds. That's the first thing. You're going to break this up into 3 pieces. Try to make them even pieces. And then shade the pieces to show 2 out of the 3 are shaded. And then write greater than, less than, or equal to make the statement true is 1/6 greater than, less than, or equal to 1/4. And complete the related multiplication fact. So they're showing us a division problem. What would be the multiplication problem? 8 times what would equal 24? 24 divided by 8 is the same number as this number. 42 divided by 6, or 6 times what equals 42? 16 divided by 4, or 4 times what equals 16? All right. Don't forget, you can always pause the video while I'm doing this and go over it with me. So this week we have spelling list 26, words with IE, EI, AI, and IA. So here's your list of words. And then if you're on the alternative list, here's your list of words. All right. And then this is the part where we're going to do our vocabulary. So if you'll get out your vocabulary book, I'm going to go over to Google Classroom, and that's where you can go as well and open up the pages. You just click on here. Now you don't have to write anything on these pages. You're just going to use this to write in your own book. So here are 3 of our words. We have prank, a practical joke or trick. Prank is a noun. It's a thing you can do. Then we have the word continuous, which is an adjective without an end. Decline, which is a verb. It's an unwillingness to consider an idea or request. So like you refuse to listen to it, you decline. And then on the second slide, we have pivot, which is a verb, which means to turn as if you're on a pin. So if you pivot, you don't really need to take a step anywhere, you just completely turn. And then gnaw, which is a verb, to bite or chew with your teeth. So go ahead and take your time, open this up on your Google Classroom and copy those down on there. All right. And then the next page we have is our Math is Fun interactive notebook. So you're going to cut this out and glue it into your math notebook. And it says, number 1, show 4 different ways to color half of each square below. So how are the ways that we could color this one with half, and this one with half, this one with half, and this one with half, and make them different, not the same way? And then number 2 says, circle the shapes that are divided into thirds. So they have to be exactly the same size piece. Draw an X over the shapes that are not divided into thirds. And then on number 3, we're going to write in how many pieces of the whole each one is showing. So 2/4 is 2 out of 4 pieces. So 2 pieces of the whole. 3/5 is blank pieces of the whole. 7/10 is how many pieces of the whole. All right, number 4 says, below you see 1/4 of the marbles in Pat's bag. Add to the picture to show all the marbles in Pat's bag. So this is just one set out of 4 sets. So we need another set and another set and another set to get to 4 sets. So how would that look? Number 5 says, below you see 1/3 of the carrots in the refrigerator. Add to the picture to show all of the carrots in the refrigerator. So these 5 are one set out of 3 sets. So we need to make more sets to show. And then how many carrots would that be? You'll write down how many carrots that would be and how many marbles that would be in theirs. All right, and then let me see if I can show you my page. I know it's a little backwards there, but you get the idea of what you're supposed to do on that. All right. let's go to our slides so you can see today's PowerPoint lesson. All right. We're going to start from the beginning. So we're all the way finished with Unit 3 for grammar. And so this week we're going to be going back over everything we've learned, and you now have your notebook at home, so you can add the papers that you had if you still have them, and then you can also use your workbook, your notebook, to help you on your test on Friday. So the first slide says, some adjectives and adverbs compare two or more things. They are called comparative and superlative. Can you think of some examples? So let's review. So what would be nice is if you want to, if you look and see if you have this in your book, or you can copy this down just like this. Just pause the video and then copy this down, because that way you can use it on your test on Friday. So comparative means you're comparing two things. One syllable, you're going to add an ER. If the word has more than one syllable, you're going to write the words more or less. And if it ends in a Y, you're going to drop the Y and add IER. If you're doing superlative, you're comparing more than two things. So if it's a one-syllable word, we're going to add est. If it's more than one syllable, we're going to be putting in most or least. If it ends with a Y, we're going to drop the Y and add IEST. So you should see that in your book. We've already done these. So for an example, so this would be a good thing to copy down in your workbook, in your grammar notebook right now. And I would title it Review. We've done this before, so hopefully you'll remember. We'll copy down, my bedroom is small than my brother's. We're comparing her room and her brother's room. That's two people. So my bedroom is smaller than my brother's. So we're just going to add ER to the word small. A kitten is energetic than a cat. So energetic is more than one syllable. So we're going to say a kitten is more energetic than a cat. She is the funny person that I've ever met. So we're saying it's the most, and we're ending with a Y. So we're going to drop the Y and add IEST. She is the funniest person that I have ever met. Drop the Y, add IEST. Every complete sentence must have two parts, a subject and a predicate. What are subjects and predicates? So the subject is telling us who, and the predicate is telling us what that person's doing or what that thing is doing. So we're going to put one line under the subject and two lines under the predicate. So you can copy these sentences, pause the video, and copy these sentences in your notebook and under grammar. She colored the picture. So remember the questions we can ask. She colored the picture. Who colored the picture? She. So that we're going to underline she with one line. What's being said about she? Colored the picture. We're going to underline that one twice. The whole thing, colored the picture. Not just the verb, the whole thing. The predicate is the verb and everything that comes after it. The cute baby smiled at me. Who smiled at me? The cute baby, not just baby. It's the cute baby. That's our subject. Underline with one. What's being said about the cute baby? Smiled at me. Underline that twice. I wish I could mark on these. We have a substitute today. Who has a substitute today? We. So we underline with one. What's being said about we? Have a substitute today. Two lines under the whole thing. All right. So make sure you can pause that and write that down. So now we're going to conjunctions. Conjunctions connect words, phrases, or sentences. We've watched that Schoolhouse Rock song about hooking up words and phrases and sentences. So what are some examples of conjunctions? We can use a conjunction and a comma to join two simple sentences. I am hungry, comma, but I forgot my lunch. Here's a simple sentence. I am hungry. I forgot my lunch. we can add a comma and then put a conjunction in there to add them together. I am hungry, but I forgot my lunch. We call this a compound sentence, when we take two simple sentences and make them into one sentence. So if you want to copy that down, that would be a very good thing to be able to look back at when you're doing your test on Friday. Whoopsie, went a little fast. Let me get back there. Okay. Right, here we go. Make it a compound sentence. So if you want to write this in your notebook, I like to play baseball. I do not play on a team. So how can we make those two simple sentences into one compound sentence, adding a comma and a conjunction? I like to play baseball, comma, but I do not play on a team. All right. So now we're going to move to the subject and the verb agreement. The subject and the verb must work together to agree and sound good. So rule 1, we've written this in our notebook already. If the subject is singular, then you will add an S to the action verb. The boy plays video games. If you need to go back and make sure you've gotten this written down in your book, go for it, go check it, and then come back to the video. And then that way you don't have to write all of this. If you are missing any of this, please take time to write it down. It will help you on the test. Rule 2. If the subject is plural, you do not add an S to the action verb. So we have the boys, more than one, play video games. Not the boys plays video games. The boys play video games. Rule breaker. The word I and you are both singular subjects, but you do not add S to the action verb. So you play video games or I play video games, and they both stay singular. So this is something you could write down in your notebook as a reminder. Which verb agrees with the subject? Grace eat a sandwich every day. Grace eats a sandwich every day. This is singular, so we add an S onto the verb. A pronoun replaces or refers to a noun. This noun is called the antecedent. They must agree. So Noah puts on his shoes. His is a pronoun talking about Noah. Noah is the antecedent to the pronoun. You try. Faith and I watched the movie. Us loved it. We loved it. They loved it. Which one would go with Faith and I? If it's talking about I, that's including you. So would we say us or we or they? You would want to say we loved it. All right, so now we're talking about capitalizing titles. Remember, a movie and a book, we do an underline, and songs and magazine titles, poems are going to be quotations. But we're going to talk about what parts need to be capitalized. These are the rules. Capitalize the first and last word in the title. Pronouns get capitalized. Adjectives get capitalized. Verbs get capitalized, and adverbs get capitalized, and then any other word that's more than 4 letters long. So if you need to write that down again, help you with a review, that would be excellent to help you with your test on Friday. Just hit pause on this video and go ahead and do that. What should be capitalized and why? Where the red fern grows. All right, so first word of the sentence, where, so that should be capitalized. Capital W, so you can write this down in your notebook. The is an article adjective, and we don't need to capitalize it, and it doesn't have more than 3 letters, so we leave it lowercase. Where the red fern grows. Red is describing what color the fern is. That makes that an adjective. We capitalize adjectives, so red should be capitalized. Fern is a noun. We capitalize nouns, so fern should be capitalized. And grows, we do capitalize the last word in a title, and we also capitalize verbs. Grows is the last word, and a verb, so that one should be capital G. So the only word in this whole title that should not have capital letter is the. All right, that is it for that video. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can go to Google Classroom to do your writing lesson. I will be adding, it says writing lesson 4 right now. I'm going to add it right after I finish this video. I'll put in writing lesson 5. If you haven't finished your other writing lessons, please go back in and do those and submit those to me. And then some people, I've sent things back to get finished, and then send those to me when you're finished. And then, of course, right here, your vocabulary page, so you can copy down the definitions, the words, and the parts of speech. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you have a great day. I'm really proud of you. You guys are doing such a good job, working so hard. So have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you during our read aloud.